inject 30, and you're 50,000 people. Now you have, in a month, you've almost doubled the size, and it's a disaster what's going on in Aurora, where you have Venezuelan street gangs. They went into the same business as me, but they take their real estate with guns. I had to go borrow money from banks. They're in the real estate business. They go into the governor there in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. The governor's petrified. He doesn't know what to do. He's never seen anything like it. Actually, nobody has seen anything like it when you get right down to it. But we can be a nation that dreams big again. We can be a nation that builds things again. We can reclaim our pride, our dignity, our glorious American destiny. But only if we make a clean break from the failures of the past 4 years. They've been the worst 4 years. When you add everything up, the inflation, the lack of respect, the Afghanistan disaster, which was the most embarrassing period of time in our history where we were just humiliated, and you add it all up, and all we're going to do is a very simple thing. We're going to make our country so incredible and so fast. You only have one thing to do. On November 5th, we're going to vote for a person named Donald J. Trump. Have you ever heard of him? Nice hat. Nice hat. But if Lion Kamala gets in, if she gets, can you imagine another 4 years like we've lived the last one? Think of it. People are dying in North Carolina. They're dying all over those 5, 6 states. They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country. If Lion Kamala gets 4 more years, instead of a golden age, America will instead be plunged into a dark age. Your family finances will be permanently destroyed. Your borders will be gone forever. They already are when you think of it, right? We don't have any borders. You're a border state now. You know that. Welcome. Congratulations. Tens of millions more illegal aliens will invade our cities and towns. Medicare and Social Security will buckle and collapse from the weight of all of these people becoming proud members of our Social Security system. Isn't that nice? Remember, for 4 years, I took care of it. I didn't raise the age 5 years. You know what that means? That means, darling, I thought I was going to have Social Security. I thought I was going to retire a little early. But they've raised the age by 5 or 6 or 7 years. That's what they're going to do to you. I won't, because I would have done it already if I was going to do it. But they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And they're really destroying the whole system in the world. We'll be thrown into chaos and conflict like never before, although we're pretty close to that right now. And we're also very close to a third world war. And we have incompetent people running our country. We don't want to have them. Did you see where Biden said today when they asked about, what about Israel? What are they doing? And he said, well, I don't know. He didn't even know where the hell he was. You know, it's all these politicians now. I think I was the only one that ever went to the planes and the helicopters and talked, right? Now they all sort of stop and they talk, but he doesn't do a good job of it. He talks very, but he said, well, they'll have to do, I don't want them to do anything, Israel, but as long as they don't destroy the nuclear weapons on the other side. I said, did he say that? No, isn't it supposed to be the opposite, Judge? We got some of the biggest judges in the country right here. But isn't it supposed to be the opposite? No, as long as you do destroy the nuclear weapons, right? He said, he's the worst foreign policy president in history, and everybody knew that from the beginning. No, he said, as long as they don't destroy the nuclear, and I'm still trying to figure that one out. Nobody can figure it out. He can't figure it out either, come to think. If you want to avoid this miserable fate for America, Michigan and the entire Midwest will have to go out and we have to be too big to rig. You know that, too big to rig. Turn out and vote in record numbers, too big to rig. You know, last election, we did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know we did much better in 2020. We won, we did win. It was a rigged election. It was a rigged election. You have to tell Kamala Harris, that's why I'm doing it again. If I thought I lost, I wouldn't be doing this again. You know where I'd be right now? In the beaches of Monte Carlo, maybe, or someplace. Be having a nice life, but if I had my choice of being here with you today or being on some magnificent beach with the waves hitting me in the face, I would take you every single time because we're going to make our country great again. Every single time. It's a very energetic crowd, isn't it? And who else can fill up? Only MAGA. But whoever fills big places like this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to be meeting. We're going to think of it. I just left Wisconsin. 5 days ago, we had a sort of a rally. Wasn't supposed to be. 60,000 people showed up in Wisconsin. But the White House wouldn't give us proper security coverage. So we end up in a room of about 900 people. You have 60,000 people, 50 to 60,000 people outside waiting, but they don't want that because they don't want crowds. What they are doing is such a disgrace to our country. And so to those people in Wisconsin that didn't make it, I think they love us and I think they're going to vote. By the way, we're up in all of the polls. We're up in every swing state. Doing great. They had a honeymoon period. You know, they had like a honeymoon. I didn't know what a honeymoon period. They kept talking about the honeymoon. Because I beat Biden, we were up 21 points by their numbers. And they went to him, crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy as a bedbug. Crazy Nancy. But others too. They went to him and they said, Joe, you're out. He said, I'm not getting out. And they said, no, you're out. We're going to use the 25th Amendment because you're freaking crazy, man. And he eventually agreed to get out, which took about, 24 hours. Remember, he said he would only get out if he was forced to by God. And that didn't work out. That didn't work out. So they said, you're getting out because you're going to lose. You're going to lose by a lot. Right after the debate, they went to him, right? I don't know, did I do a good job or a bad job? Crazy. They said, you should have taken it a little bit easy. But all of a sudden, we start hearing rumors, right, that he's getting out. And then we heard they, have the standard list of people, Democrats, and Gavin Newsom and lots of people. He destroyed California. She destroyed California, by the way. She destroyed the greatest city in our country 20 years ago, San Francisco. And then she became AG. She destroyed the state of California along with Newsom. But she had every bit, did you ever hear of him? Gavin Newsom. He's a terrible governor, done a lousy job. And you have such advantages. You do have great weather, you have the beautiful ocean, you have everything, but you still need somebody that knows what they're doing. And she destroyed, think of it, she destroyed San Francisco when she was the DA. The crime started to be rampant. It was the best city, the best. And then she destroyed California, and now she wants to destroy the United States of America. We're not gonna let her do it. So you have to tell Lion Kamala that we've had enough, Kamala. We can't take you anymore. We're not gonna stand for it anymore. Kamala, you're fired, get out, you're fired. You're fired, get the hell out of here. Right? Starting on day one of my new administration, we will end inflation and we will make America affordable again. It's not affordable. They killed you. They killed you with their spending, a combination of spending and their stupid energy policies. They said, we're going to get away from the Trump energy policies. We were energy independent. Your numbers were the lowest they were in 30 years. We're going to get lower numbers. By the way, we are going to, from January 20th, that's the day you take office, 1 year from January 20th, your energy bills will be 1/2 what they are right now. 50%, 50. They'll be 1/2. Because we're sitting on more liquid gold than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, and including Russia. We have more liquid gold right under our feet. We don't use it. We go to Venezuela to get their tar. And then we clean it up. You know where? We go to a very good, I just left there actually. We go to Houston, Texas, where they're the only plant that will clean their tar. It's tar. Instead of using our stuff, which is pure as there is. And it's so crazy what we're doing in this country. It's just crazy. But we have more liquid gold. I did a thing called Anwar. That's in Alaska. You know about it a little bit. Reagan tried to get it. Everybody tried to get it. They couldn't do it. I got it. In their first week, they terminated it. It's larger, perhaps as big as, but maybe larger than Saudi Arabia. Think of that. We would have supplied the entire Asian continent. We would have supplied Asia. We would have supplied everybody, but we'll have it redone very quickly because they didn't kill it like they wanted to, because they didn't kill it in Congress. I actually got it approved in Congress as part of the biggest tax cuts in history for this country. I got that approved in Congress. We got Anwar. So they didn't kill it in Congress, and I don't think they ever could. So we'll get it back very quickly. It's going to be back very fast. But think of that. The biggest site probably anywhere in the world, you never know exactly, but pretty much anywhere in the world, in Alaska. And it would have been great for Alaska, but it would have also been great for, so big, would have been great for our country, but we'll have it approved very quickly. But they ended it in the first week, but they approved the Russian pipeline. I had that disapproved. I said, you're not going to build, when they say I was nice to Russia, I terminated their pipeline. I mean, it's the biggest thing they've ever done. They had a pipeline going to Germany and all over Europe. I said, nope, you're not going to build it. You're not going to build it. Vladimir, I'm sorry, Vladimir, you're not building it, Vladimir. No. Because it didn't make sense. We're defending them with NATO, right? So we're defending them, all the countries over in Europe. They're not paying their bills. They're delinquent. They're delinquent. They're not paying their bills. But we're defending them with NATO, and yet they're paying billions of dollars to the people that we're defending, for the country that we're defending them against, Russia. So we defend them, and I said, Angela, I met with Angela Merkel. I said, Angela, this doesn't make sense. We're defending you from Russia, but you're paying Russia billions of dollars a month. Somehow that's not working for me, Angela. And I right their pipeline right in the middle of that construction. You think Putin was happy? I don't think so. You think Biden would have done that? When Biden came in, one of his first acts was to unterminate. It was to let him build their pipeline. That wasn't a good, and by the way, if he didn't, you wouldn't have had the war in Ukraine. You wouldn't have had it anyway if I was president. If I was president, you wouldn't have had that. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. Iran, as you know, was broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anything. They would have made a deal, and they would have been happy. They would have made a deal. And now look at what's happening over there. The whole world is blowing up. And the biggest threat we have is World War III, and we have incompetent people, and she's more incompetent than Biden. And remember, that was a coup. That was a coup of an American president. They took his presidency, they said, you get the hell out, and he walks around shaking hands with people. He still doesn't know what the hell happened. And then he goes to the beach. He goes to the beach all the time. Somebody told him he looks great in a bathing suit. Typically, an 82-year-old man doesn't look great in a bathing suit. There may be a couple, but I'm not sure I've ever seen it. But he has an ability that I wish I had. He's able to fall asleep, stone cold out, in front of the media. They take a picture. Who the hell wants to sleep in front of the media? I wish I had the ability to sleep like that. It's true. No, he falls asleep. Think of it. He's laying down on the beach. He has those chairs. They're meant for old people and children to lift. They weigh about like 6 ounces, right? They're aluminum, like 6 ounces. And he has a hard time moving them. They have to bring kids over to move them. Can't get his feet out of the sand. And they think this is good. But who can do this? Who can fall asleep with cameras blazing. Here's our president. And President Xi of China, Putin, all these people are looking at this saying, what the hell is happening with that country? But we're going to change that around soon. Change it around very soon. We were respected 4 years ago. We were respected. Viktor Orban, he's the head of Prime Minister of Hungary. He said, the only thing wrong with the world today is Trump isn't president, because if he was president, there'd be no conflict whatsoever. You know, I had no conflict. We had no wars. We had no nothing. He's a tough guy, but he understood that. If Kamala is reelected, one of her very first acts will be to massively raise taxes for the American family. You know, her bill raises taxes. Whereas my idea is not idea, it's going to be a fact, is to lower. I gave you the biggest tax cut in history, and we're going lower because we're going to rely on so many other things. Today, socialist Bernie Sanders is out on the trail campaigning for her because Kamala is known as the tax queen. Do you know that she is considered to be far left of Bernie Sanders? Now, Bernie, we know, he's crazy. He's crazy, Bernie. We call him crazy. He got screwed twice, actually. He ran twice, looked like he won, and you know, he's a good sport, though. He acts like nothing happened. First it was Hillary, then it was this one, right? It was Joe. Sleepy Joe beat him. But we have a little video. You know, I only do this for people when I like people, I do the videos. Otherwise, they're too expensive, so let's put it up.
Kamala Harris will significantly raise taxes. Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes. President Trump will cut taxes by taking no taxes on tips, or Social Security.
Donald J. Trump had approved this message.
Now she wants to raise taxes, and she's going to raise it very substantially. You know why? To pay for the Green New Scam. It's like throwing money out the window. We had the cleanest air and the cleanest water we've ever had during my last 3 years. We had the best water, best air we've ever had, and we were working. They'll put everybody out of business. They'll put everybody out of business. Our companies will be forced to do things that companies in China and other places in the world aren't forced to do. I used to watch this guy Kerry get into his plane and fly over to China, meet with them, say, we don't want you to use coal anymore. They'd say, oh, yes, yes. Oh. Then he leaves, and that's the end of that. They don't do a thing. They say, what a stupid country that is. For years, Americans have watched as our country has been stripped of our jobs. By the way, this state, more than any other, you lost 60% of your automobile business over the years. And you know, a lot of it went to China, but a lot of it is currently going to Mexico. And China owns it, but it's going to Mexico. They think they're going to make cars. They're going to make cars and sell them into the United States with no tax. And that will destroy. It won't happen. It won't happen. And I'll tell you why in just a couple of minutes if you don't mind waiting. But it won't happen. They want to strip us of our wealth, and you've seen our companies being sold off to foreign countries all the time. And how about U.S. Steel? I'm not going to let them sell U.S. Steel. I don't care, even if it's maybe good, but this was the most important. 65, 70 years ago, U.S. Steel was the most important company in the world. Now, Japan wants to buy it. I would not let that happen. I hope it doesn't go through before I get there, because if I get there and it's not done, we're not letting that. We'll help it get along, but we're not letting them buy U.S. Steel. But with my plan for the American economy, this will stop immediately all of this nonsense that they're doing, all of the hurt they're inflicting upon us. And we will begin to take other countries' jobs and factories, bringing businesses and trillions of dollars back to the United States of America. In other words, for the first time in 7 years, although I will say we started that process for 4 years, we started it, we had it going good, and then we had to fight the COVID stuff, and we did that really well. We never got the kind of credit we got for the economy and for the military, because we defeated ISIS very quickly. ISIS was supposed to take 5 years, and it took us about a month. Which tells you when you find the right ones, we have a great military, but I rebuilt the entire military. Under my plan, American workers will no longer be worried about losing their jobs to foreign nations. Instead, foreign nations will be worried about losing their jobs to America. We're bringing them all back. German car companies can become American car companies. In other words, what I'm saying is they've got to build their plants in America with you people operating them. We can beat China in electronic production. We will, too. Using a very similar form, actually a better formula than they have. Manufacturers that have left us will come sprinting back to our shores. Here's the deal that I will be offering to companies and manufacturers all around the planet. We're going to be going after their companies for the first time ever. They've been ripping us off for years, but that's not going to happen anymore. The United States will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet Earth, but only if they make their products here in America and hire American workers. That's the whole deal. And if these companies don't take the deal, if they say no, then they're going to have to pay tariffs to come into our country. They're going to have to pay tariffs. And they want to come into our country, they're going to have to pay. And they're not going to send their products made in another country to us, and we have to eat their products. They're produced by other labor, and their labor, we're not going to take it. We will use the hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs to benefit the American citizens. We're not going to let happen what's happened for so many years. The new American industrialism that we create, and it's going to be something, the industry will be beyond anything you've ever seen in this country, will create millions and millions of new jobs, massively raise wages for American workers, and make the United States a manufacturing powerhouse once again. So what we're doing, we're lowering the tax rate for the middle class, for everybody. But we're bringing the small business tax and the business tax down. I got it from 39% to 21%, got it approved by Congress. Everyone said that was impossible to do. Got it approved by Congress. Nobody thought it was possible. Now I'm bringing it from 21 all the way down to 15. So we'll now have the most, at 21, we were highly competitive. At 15, we're one of the most competitive in the world because we want to bring companies to this country, right? She wants to raise the tax for everybody so they all leave and they go your jobs. Think of it. By contrast, Kamala, known as the taxing queen back in San Francisco, is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. In addition, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country and maybe the history of the world. She even plans a tax of unrealized capital gains. So she wants a tax on unrealized capital gains. So if you don't sell your stock or your company or what, you have to go out, and some companies don't make money, but they're very valuable companies. They'll have to go out and beg, borrow, and steal to pay tax. This is a communist tax, it's called. And it's never used. Nobody's ever even heard of using it. But it's no good, and it's something that we're not going to let happen because we will be driven into a depression the likes of which we probably only seen in 1929. Kamala Harris already cost the average family $29,000 with her rampant inflation, and now she's coming back for more. So we're not going to let that happen. Her plan would raise taxes by $4.1 trillion, hiking the typical family's taxes by, congratulations, $2,600 a year, reducing GDP because people won't do business here. They're going to all leave. Our companies are going to leave. You know, got to remember, these companies are smart, and they have people, they love the country, or in some cases they don't. Some cases they're run by people that aren't from our country, but they always look for the best deal. And they go to Europe, and they go to the medical industry, went to Ireland largely. They go to the country that offers them the best deal. They go to China. China loves to have them. But it's going to be reducing GDP by 2%, lowering wages by 1.2%, and killing off almost 1 million full-time jobs. That's her thing. It's crazy. Harris is right now shutting down power plants across the country, causing electricity prices to soar by more than 100%. You see what's happening? It's amazing. They want to go to an all-electric car. Listen to this, which will, by the way, destroy your business in Michigan. They want to go to an all-electric car, right? But in California, where they're going all-electric, they have blackouts every week and brownouts because they don't have enough electricity. So they have to figure that one out. But it's driving us into a third world status by attacking the entire fossil fuel industry, which is, unfortunately, that's the industry if you want to fire up your big plants. You're not going to do it through wind. The wind isn't blowing, darling. Let's turn on the television. Let's try it anyway. I want to see President Trump make a speech tonight. No, darling, the wind isn't blowing. We have no juice in the house. We have no juice. If Kamala Harris, I mean, think of this, or America, if you ship production overseas, she will give you a tax break. In other words, her tax break, this is her plan.